What's going on? Whoa! Right out of the gates, bro. We already flubbed. First 3 words in, we're already flubbing. What's going on, man? Welcome in, everybody, to the Husker Gutter Call-In Show live. We got Husker volleyball going on currently. So attention might be diverted, as all of ours are, but we also got football to talk about. We got depth charts released today. So
yes,
we got really important stuff to talk about why Husker volleyball continues to win over there. So we got Bone Led in the chat. What's going on, man? Appreciate you hopping in here. Ron T, yo, what's going on, man? Pit Snipe, what's up, brother? Appreciate you hopping in. Let me drop the link in the chat in case y'all want to talk depth chart or Husker volleyball. There it is.
Volleyball is up 24-10 right now on set point.
Damn. I mean, they were up when I turned it off, but holy cow.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing it from my living room, because I wanted to watch it. I'm amazed at how good they look in set 2.
24-10, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the third-ranked team in the country they're playing, and they're dominating.
It's Pitt, bro. Like, it's no joke. It's crazy. This team is nuts. Nutty. But while you're watching that, let's talk a little bit of depth chart. Why don't we?
100%.
Oh, we got Mike hopping in. Mike hopping in. So Mike needs to connect his stuff before he there we go. Mike, what's going on, man?
Gentlemen, how we doing?
We're doing fantastic, man. How are you?
I am good. I'm pumped up for the game next week. I'm not counting down or nothing.
Man, I am so excited, dude. I'm like a kid.
Hey, I wanted to I'm sure you guys know, I heard you talking about it here a little bit ago. Next Thursday, we get the debut of one Makai Nelson.
Oh,
yes,
yeah,
let's go.
Number 2 on the old depth chart.
He is. A lot of oars on there, though, which, I mean, is a good thing. So looking forward to that.
We had last
I am kind of curious. I am kind of surprised, though, that Van Poppel's not starting.
I think that's going to be I really think the way he was talking about the D-line today, like I just think that D-line is going to be a rotational package of guys. I don't know if you can point to any one guy and be like, this guy's a starter. I just think we're too deep, across the way they're going to do the package.
The thing I noticed on the whole, especially the defensive side, and you guys have mentioned it before with the aggression that they want to play with, is the speed that they have in the first.
Absolutely.
Like the number 1s, 2s, all that.
Yeah, 100%. And he talked about Williams Wannery's what he say he ran. He was running like a
4.62
when he was not supposed to be in good shape in terms of his sprint speed. So yeah, we definitely have some speed on that side of the ball, and then we have a scheme that I feel like is going to take the best advantage of the speed in their skill set. So, I mean,
speaking of,
just looking and love seeing I love seeing Dason McCulloch on our depth chart now. That just makes me really happy to see.
Did you see on X today, Michael Rose-Ivy said that this is going to be a defensive line that we haven't seen since 2014, which would have been the Malik Collins, the Randy Gregory's, which is a pretty damn good defensive line. He thinks they're going to be very, very good this year.
I think I retweeted. Yeah, he said, retweeted. He said, DB, they're going to be good, like really good up front. We haven't seen since 2014. I retweeted that. Yeah, actually. So that is Michael Rose-Ivy saying that too. Like, and he knows, he's been out there with these guys, so he coaches this stuff. He knows. If anybody knows, it's him. And I don't know. This is kind of what we're talking about before, just with the conversation around this team. Like, I don't think we've heard this conversation from media and players and former players, stuff surrounding this team as well. The conversation like this emboldened to be able to come out and say stuff like that. That says a lot.
Is there anybody that surprised you, Mike, or Justin, on the depth chart? Any surprises for you?
I think for me, and I understand that, they're all oars. I understand that, it could be, I don't remember the exact order, but anyway, it surprised me that Pritchett was listed 3rd on the depth chart behind 2 others. Although, like I say, they are all oars. So that's probably about the only thing, I guess. I haven't looked at it a whole lot. I looked at it real quickly at break at work today, but
yeah, and Rule had talked about that a little, bro. Why can I not zoom in on this, man? It's all weird. Let me just save it as a picture and zoom in on it. But Rule talked about a little bit about Pritchett earlier and said it was really, it just seems like a lot of the mental lapses in the football side of things is what he said. It's all football, whether it be like penalties in the red zone or just missed assignments. I don't know whether he's talking about when he's doing combo blocks. I talked about that before, where it's like, imperative getting to your block and getting to the second level. And a lot of certain runs, especially, with this line, the way it's going to be with the wider splits and the way that they're going to require a lot from this offensive line. And so if you're not one of those that's keeping pace, and that is a good thing that, he kind of mentioned about our offensive line, the talent's there, like the talent, our offensive line's talent, they just demand excellence. And so you got to be able to fit into that mold. And it's still kind of inklings of part of the issues that I felt like they had with him over at Alabama. A lot of the same coaching issues, and it was a lot of the football stuff. The talent was always there. He showed it in flashes. It was consistency that he struggled with. It seems like he's still kind of struggling there.
That's something we talked about when Nebraska signed him from the portal was, the talent's there. The consistency is always the question mark. And, we were hoping in spring and fall that was something that could get worked out. Obviously, it's still something they're working on. I think what surprised me most, I don't worry about him being third. Maybe that was by design. I don't know. Was Turner Corcoran being listed as or number one left tackle. Now, granted, I think Pritchett, I'm fairly confident based on what I heard that he was running with the ones yesterday, but I really was of the belief it was Pritchett and Gunnar Gatula basically battling it out for the number one left tackle spot. So seeing Turner up there was quite the shock for me, especially, I think a week or two ago is when he came back from his injury.
Who, Turner? Yeah.
Yeah, Turner.
Yeah, I think so.
He's listed code number one.
Because, and two, like he kind of elaborated a little bit on the O-line, but not a ton. But he was talking about how even a right tackle's not cemented. Said Teddy would be today, but Tyler's on his heels, Gunners, bouncing around on both sides, that type of thing too. So what it sounds like too is this depth chart is going to be kind of a gradual progression throughout the early weeks of the season, as it normally is. I mean, that's the nature of the beast. Is the first depth chart is typically still kind of an unofficial, if you will. I mean, it's the first official one, but it varies way different than what we tend to see midway through or towards the end of the season for a number of different reasons. But yeah, I will say Van Poppel, seeing him second did surprise me at first. TJ Lateef second. I do like seeing that. Outside of that, though, I don't think there was any big surprises on my end.
I think,
and I don't even know if I was that surprised about Lateef.
Yeah, we were talking last was that Tuesday about pitching ideas back and forth, and I was like, we could talk about some of the bigger risers, and we ended up running out of time on the show. But that was someone I had heard was making a move was TJ Lateef, and I've always asked the question long term, if Dylan gets hurt, does Nebraska go with TJ because he's the younger guy, or do they go with Jalen Gramstad? I think TJ being number 2 on the depth chart is an indicator of how much he's progressed in the last really 2 or 3 weeks. I believe there was a scrimmage, or the second scrimmage is when he really kind of turned it up a notch.
Yeah, I think Rule kind of what he talked about is just being impressed with kind of his, I guess, the way he operates as a football player. Does talk about that level of dynamicism that he brings in terms of running the football. It's an element that we don't get, necessarily with Raiola, in terms of just TJ Lateef being fleet of foot, if you will. Yep. But talked about how he came in really well coached, and like his preparation was there, and so like everything was in place. Everything that Matt Rule typically talks about making good football player was kind of already in place for him. The way he prepares, the way he practices, because he was well coached. He says he has a good, family. He's smart, and garners respect for the players. But it just sounded like it was more of what TJ had done versus what Jalen hadn't done.
Yep.
So.
All right, guys, I'm going to have to go. But shout out to the volleyball team.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Husker volleyball. So appreciate you calling in, brother. All righty. Anybody else want to call in? Let's go. Let me go ahead and see. No stars on D-line. Yeah. Van Poppel's the backup material. Is backup material, guys, try to overrate them all preseason overrated. Okay, Don Black.
Well, who's a single digit for a reason.
Don, where did Van Poppel hurt you? Did he bully you in high school? Pritchett needs to grow up. I think there's a lot of that there. I think there's a lot of maturity. Yeah. I'm saying the same. And whenever competition, he was pushed for competition at Alabama, he didn't necessarily like that. He had one guy on his heels at one side, flipped the other side. Then he had a younger guy on his heels there. Again, I gave him the potential out of it was a different staff than the staff that brought him in there. Saban staff left and all that. But I mean, Rule for all intents and purposes doesn't make it seem like he's not making any progress. It makes it seem like he's progressing. He's just not to the level of the standard that they have for him here.
Yep.
Well, at least to get the notification this time. Thank God. Never mind me. I don't know what you got to figure that out. Great day. What's going on, Rashawn? I appreciate you hopping in here, man. Shout out to Makai, number 2 on the depth chart, man. Congratulations. I'm excited, man. Thursday is going to be fun. Thinking about putting 5,000 down on bet for Nebraska to be predicted Vegas win total. Listen, I am not giving any gambling advice because I'm not getting sued. Okay, but I'm staying away from that. I'm just not going to comment on it. Bone Lake Cornfed, I think you should do whatever you want with your money. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that because you're not suing me. Bone Lead, I'd put that down to Vegas still as a 7-5. Do they adjust those? I think this season.
I'm surprised they haven't adjusted it, if I'm being honest.
Do they adjust the preseason win totals like that?
They usually will throughout.
I feel like college doesn't get adjusted that much just because there's not a ton of movement usually.
Yeah.
Once they come out with them, they're pretty set. That's a $5,000 wager. I'm going to do it. What's going on, Jackson? Appreciate you hopping in here. It's Night Fist Punch, Jackson. All right, let's talk a little bit about did you listened to Matt Rule's press conference a little bit, right?
I did, yes.
What were some of your thoughts on just kind of overall? Let's first talk about Cincinnati. Let's talk about the opponent he put against us because he did make some interesting comments about what we're up against.
That big defensive tackle, he really hyped him up. What's his name? I'm drawing a blank on it.
Yeah, I have him in my notes somewhere if I could find my notes.
But he mentioned him multiple times. In fact, he mentioned him once, and then a few questions later brought him back up. That's clearly someone they've identified that they need to slow down, if not stop them, obviously. But I think Nebraska's strength on their offensive line is the interior, so it's not something I'm overly concerned about. He talked about their quarterback, Sorsby or whatever his name is.
Brendan Sorsby, yeah.
Yeah, and he mentioned the tricky part about it, defending a guy like that is it's not just his ability to run it, but it's the fact that you have to identify him on the speed option. He can do the read option. He can do the ARP. There's just so much versatility with what he can do. I personally, he's a fairly good runner. He's not a good thrower. I'm not worried about that personally. But I think Nebraska's definitely going to have the advantage going against Sorsby. I mean, their defense versus him. I think Nebraska's a clear-cut advantage there.
Yeah, and the one you're talking about is probably Deontay Corleone. Because that's the one D tackle I have listed in my notes by name. So, and I'm pretty sure that is because that's Corleone ring a bell. So yeah, just let's see, what was his? I looked at his stats here somewhere. I had him written down. 3.5 sacks last year, so 9.5 total. But
he's huge. His name's like 330 pounds.
He's on the interior line. He's not going to get a lot of sacks, but a lot of tackles, TFLs. He's just a force, basically. He's just a wrecking ball up there. Guy who can move people back. So forces some fumbles too, believe it or not, for a big guy. But yeah. So what they were kind of alluding to, and just kind of like So maybe I could put it to perspective because what you were talking about when he's talking about the man coverage in quarters versus a running quarterback.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that
So
I think requires a lot of damn good safety play.
right. So it depends on which one you're talking about. So man coverage versus a running quarterback. So the DBs have their backs turned, like he mentioned. So if the quarterback breaks the pocket, like it's a foot race, right? And usually quarterback gets a huge gain. They're able to get some yards out of it. So like it versus man coverage versus a running QB, the way it usually is you need a spy, linebacker, safety to mirror the quarterback. Just stay square in front of him, make the tackle if he takes off. Your edge rushers got to be they got to be very smart with their contains. They can't get too wide, so they leave a seam. They can't fly too far up the field, or so the QB can step and just have a run lane. It's like almost like a controlled rush, if you will. So they're trying to keep the quarterback almost boxed in, right? So the D line on the interior, they have to stay kind of in their lanes. They can't get a little too, outside, lose gap integrity, have somebody come up the middle, come to the right, whatever. QB can slip through wherever. And when you blitz out of man coverage, you have to really be smart to disguise it because otherwise they're just going to be like, oh, blitz coming here. Okay, see ya, if they know where the blitz.
Yeah.
So even more so, you got to disguise it. So with man coverage, you just got to make sure that you're maintaining your rush lanes. Your edges stay focused. They don't get, complacent or lazy. And then you have a spy. And when he was talking about, what was the other one? It's match quarters, right?
Yep.
When he's talking about match quarters versus a running quarterback, that's where the safeties come in to play. The defenders have their eyes on the QB a little bit more there, but it puts a little pressure on them to be disciplined as well. So, it requires, good eyes, which kind of our safeties and linebackers, cornerbacks, all that have to have anyways. But they can't get caught bailing too soon off of a route. They need to be able to quickly identify run versus pass. So those high IQ guys and then be able to trigger downhill quick, if they take off. So a defensive back, basically, if he, bites hard on a route and leaves, grass open, right? That's where the quarterback's going to run to. Your safeties, they have to be that extra run fit. I think that's what you were kind of talking about.
Yep.
They have to be able to get down and be able to be that run fit. And they have to be able to tackle. That's another thing. Your safeties have to be able to get down, break down, and be able to make a tackle. And your edges have to do the same thing. Still just box him in, make his space smaller and smaller, and just trying to put the pressure on him, just make him feel as much as boxed in as he can with as little escape route as possible, and then kind of make him, uneasy in that regard. So, good eyes. You got safeties that are willing and ready to trigger downhill that can tackle, and then edges again that can kind of keep that pressure, that smart pressure on him. But again, the plan is always going to be more important than the talent, especially when it comes to a running quarterback, because you can't just go out there and play 100 miles an hour. You got to be, and you want to make him throw from that pocket. So it's going to be a matter of not necessarily just getting to him every time, just how can we best contain him, more often than not, and tackle in space. If this team does, they have to tackle in space, essentially.
Yep. And another thing that Coach Rule said that stood out to me was he mentioned the games this weekend. I think KU plays tomorrow. K-State plays tomorrow as well. But he said he was going to make cut-ups of those games. And you're talking about the talent, right? And he said at some point, really good teams that are consistently good versus a team where you're not very good, which is what Nebraska's been. And at some point, you'll get to the same talent level, and what'll set the difference up is the execution and the little details and the habit of winning. And that's kind of what they're trying to instill now, where you expect to win, not you hope to win. And then he's going to point out the games this weekend where he's going to show you the special teams. He's going to show you the defensive errors or the offensive errors and those little executional details. And because that's really common in week one. And when you're going against another power conference opponent, that's going to be what I think that's what he said was that's going to be what differentiates a win and a loss in week one and a power conference game like this. So that was something that stood out to me as well.
Yeah, guys, and again, he mentioned the Ohio State game where it was 10-6 on locker room versus UCLA game where it felt like, it was a morgue versus the Ohio State game where they were excited about it. And it's yeah, basically went around like kind of this long thing about, and he did talk about finding the winners and not just the talented guys. And I think that's kind of, the biggest thing that we've seen here, because we talk about it all the time, or like, yeah, like he doesn't go for talent, like he goes for like athleticism. What like at the end of the day, he does go for talent. Like he doesn't go for stars and all that stuff. He does, but at the same time, he goes for those things plus that guy that fits the mold of what the winners that he's talking about, the guys that do the things the right way that he's talking about. And so I think that's where a lot of this confidence come from, is that team. He's got the team full of those guys that he trusts now, because he went out and got a bunch of winners. And I don't want to say the team before was losers. Was not good. But again, that was not a team, like in his words, came into every game expecting to win. There was no chance in hell that team expected to win every game. There was games that team got off the bus, and we could tell by the way they stepped out on that field, they expected to lose, and so he talked a lot to, another thing that he mentioned throughout this, and I talked a lot about this last week, is communication. Like he said that so much throughout this press conference about how well they are communicating everything, and talked about, that being in essence, what is going to help the defense take a step from last year to this year is that communication. Year 2 of John Butler, there's familiarity, with a lot of the things that he's saying and stuff like that. So, in turn, I think he's got a lot of these guys in places that he trusts. So he has Dana over the offense, he has John over the defense, and he talked about that again, having a guy like Dana who can run his offense. He's learning things from him. But not only that, you got an army of guys now that you trust, an army of guys that you've put. See, all he had to do with John Butler and Dana was tell him, like, hey, here's how I operate things. Now go do your thing. With the players, it's kind of the same thing. He's like, here's how we do things, right? We're going to break you up, or we're going to build you down to rebuild you, right? And so, like, every little hard thing that we do is tearing you down, whether it be mentally or physically, so we can rebuild you back up bigger and stronger mentally and physically. And so, again, Dana and John, they've got their stripes. They've earned their stripes by doing this year in and year out, coaching for this team, that, and the third. Now the players are earning their stripes by doing it week in and week out, day in and day out, in practice and stuff like that. And that's starting to earn the trust. And I think that's what we're hearing right now. There's trust in this locker room amongst everybody, and I think that's what he's talking about. Go out there. We're not hoping to win. It's balancing confidence versus arrogance, respect versus fear. Do you expect to win? Do you hope to win? And this is the team that he wants to go out there and expects to win. And like he mentioned, even when you're down 17 points in the fourth quarter, we're going to go out there. Who's going to be the one that's want to step up? We're going to go win this game. That's what separates. You look at a team like Ohio State. Like think about this, for instance, right? Whenever in Ohio State or Alabama, when they're the top team in the country, we look down at the little score bug, right? And we see they're losing to, some school they shouldn't be losing to, but it's like 28-7. And you see, it's like, the start of the third quarter, you're still like, oh, well, it's not over yet. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Deep down, you're like, damn, there's so much time left.
I remember an Alabama game a few years ago where they're losing to like UAB in the fourth quarter. And I'm like, what is going on? And then the next ticker, it was like 42-17.
That's the mentality that we have for other teams. That's the mentality that we should have for this team. That's the difference right there,
Yeah.
Like those teams expect to win games. So we expect them on the outside to find a way to win that game,
Yeah.
That's because they've earned that, right? They've done that time in and time out. And that's, again, that's where this team has faltered. They haven't earned that, that's what they're trying to earn back. And now it starts with the players believing it. And I think it's what he was talking about today. It starts with their mentality. They got to believe it in themselves first.
Yeah. And you mentioned, his comments about getting winners. And like, I think that is a very big thing. Like, people who are conditioned to win. Like a guy like TJ Lateef, who plays at one of the highest levels of football in California, and he wins. Dylan Riley comes from Buford, and they win.
Mhm.
Dayton Riley comes from
Graham
Buford, and they win.
Graham Step.
Yeah, and it goes across the board too. I mean, I think it is a very valid thing where that you have these guys who have done nothing but win throughout their high school career, and they have that same mindset coming into college, where you hate winning more than you hate losing, or what's the saying? You hate losing more than you like winning.
More than you like winning. That's
Yeah.
me. I hate losing.
Yeah.
Like but I'm a bad loser. Like I should be I should be a better loser. I'm a sore loser. I don't mean that to say like, oh, I'm this great competitor, bro. I'm a sore loser. But
I'm the same way.
everything but fighting. Boxing, no matter what, bro. I lost the first fight, bro. There's nothing you could do at the end of a fight. We fought, bro. We're shaking hands at the end of it. I don't care. Win or lose. The other day, what's going on, man?
What's up, Dave?
Can you hear us? Looks like he's out for a round of golf. We lost him. Well, at least we got to see his bright, smiling face in there. But I talked about the kickers a little bit too.
Yeah.
Mentioned them briefly just for anybody who may not have seen, but talked about their consistent out to 48 yards, and then beyond that, still working through some things. But the fact that we're consistent out to the 30, I'll take that.
Yeah.
There he is.
And we got a guy that can snap the damn ball finally.
We didn't. Oh, what's up, man? Sorry, I just kicked him right out. What's up, man? Can you hear us? Dave.
I can't hear you guys, so maybe it's not going to work.
Oh, yeah. We can hear you, though.
Put on the Bluetooth headphones.
Yeah, we can hear you. You can't hear us. All right.
Well, anyways.
Dave, okay. Calls back. I don't know how to troubleshoot on other people's devices because I don't know what it looks like on their end.
Technology and stuff.
I know. Let me see. Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Good now?
Yeah, I guess it was my headphones. So
hey, what's up, man?
Yeah, I want to know about Jameer Khan. So that surprised me on the depth chart. What are you guys' thoughts?
Well, when I was thinking of players that are making a move in fall camp, I had Khan, I had Rex Guthrie, I had TJ Lateef, and there was one more. I'm drawing a blank on who that was. I'm pulling up the depth chart right now. We'll go with those three. But Khan doesn't surprise me. Very athletic guy. He was hurt, I believe, in spring ball, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he probably is going to still, take some time. He's not going to play a ton. I would say 20 to 30 snaps a game. It depends on how much they rotate on that back end too, especially at that nickel spot with Malcolm Hartzog there, which I thought he was going to be a safety. So that was a little bit of a surprise. But he's going to be a really good player in probably 2 years, a year maybe. I think he's got some development left.
Yeah. And Matt Rule had talked about it. And you probably heard Matt Rule when he talked about him, Brian, where he was talking about, he could probably be out there and you wouldn't be able to tell the difference between him, just because of the way he competes and all that. But yeah, he's I think it was spring because it slowed down early, but back healthy. But he's not really big in terms of his stature, but like he's quick, good with technique and just versatile. I think they like his versatility. He just plays hard, plays fast, can tackle well, can cover well, is versatile, can do a whole lot of different things well. And has put up numbers.
Yes.
Like he started 11 games, I think, as a sophomore. and which I think was last year. I think last year was a sophomore season. So,
Yep.
So yeah, I think he's good depth piece, potential, future starter, and could probably slide in there if need be. But I think kind of like what Rule's talking about, some of these guys just got to get them playing, with a little bit more confidence. He talked about the defensive back story where this one guy was talking about, he wasn't playing with confidence and he got beat on a double move. Well, you have to play with confidence as DB, because then he flipped the switch and then he was like, okay, now, and then he went on to have an 8-9 year career. Like, it's one of those things where it's like he just needs those guys to believe in themselves, to as much as he believes in them and as much their talent shows. But yeah, I think he's going to be really good as the season goes along.
Yeah, no, it surprised me. Thanks, and sorry for the background noise.
Oh,
Last
you're good.
question. Willis McGahee.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about where he's on the depth chart. I thought he'd be higher. I hope he's not the next Prince Umanielen. I hope he's not hitting the transfer portal soon, because I thought he was buried a little lower than I would have thought.
Yeah,
Well,
take your first shots on this one, Brian. Curious.
so yeah, Jordan Ochoa was my fourth riser for fall camp, and I totally blanked on him. So I'm glad you mentioned him, Willis McGahee, because what hurts Willis is he's like 6 foot, and he's playing basically a rush end, 6'1" maybe. So, but also too, Deshaun McCullough is the starting jack linebacker, and we know they're going to have multiple jack linebackers set, correct? So that leaves. I mean, he's still going to be playing. He only played like 10 to 12 snaps a game last year. He'd probably be in that same range this year. You hope that's one of those culture guys that's bought into the way you do things, and he can understand, look, I may not play 30, 40 snaps this year, but Deshaun McCullough is going to be gone after the year, and then I can make my move as a junior with Jordan Ochoa as the other jack linebacker. But it was a little surprise that Jordan Ochoa jumped Willis McGahee, but it's not a concern, I guess, for me as like someone that could jump ship.
Yeah, I think my thing with Ochoa, like, I just think he's got a lot of trust built in these, especially, Phil Simpson, talked about Ochoa's, upside. He was, kind of a barely regarded walk-on and shown huge, growth since he's gotten here and earned a lot of praise from the coaches and stuff like that. And I think that just kind of shows, he's got natural ability. I think that just kind of goes to show that we should listen when these guys, because I think Matt Rule talked about earlier. He said, don't sleep on Jordan Ochoa. Yep. So I think he's just one of those guys where it's like, again, I do think this is going to be a rotation, but I think physically he fits the mold much better, 6'4" as opposed to 6 foot 6'1". I think that's going to help him a little bit and be, the size is going to help him a little bit in the run game and not being as one-dimensional too. But I just think they see him as a complete player who they really, really trust. And I think it's just because of the way he's grown and developed since the time he's got here. So yeah, surprised me too, but at the same time, in a way, not surprised.
Yeah, and I'll add too, like, this is part of building a program, is you're continuously elevating your talent. And unfortunately, a guy like Princewell last year was a guy that got passed over by Willis McGahee because Willis was elevating and developing, and that's good for your program at the end of the day. And does it suck if you potentially lose a guy like Willis? Yeah. But we thought it sucked when we lost Princewell, but at the end of the year, I mean, he was getting 2, 3, 4 snaps a game. So, I mean, I don't even know, is he going to start at Ole Miss this year? I don't know. I think we'll be fine.
No, I appreciate that, guys, and really just wanted to give you guys a call in. I listen in the pool party here, so
Hey,
don't want to
awesome,
provide more background noise. So I'll hang up and listen.
Yeah, we appreciate you calling in, man. Just want to say thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
yes.
No. Hopefully the audio wasn't too bad. It was like
no, it's good.
Here,
it actually is not that bad, believe it or not.
Okay, good.
So,
good. All right.
All right, brother. Take care.
All right. See you guys later.
Yep, later.
That was a great point.
Shout out Dave fighting through the audio issues. What were you saying?
That was a great point by him with with the Willis McGahee situation. I mean, it's something it's worth pondering, I think, but it brought up a good discussion about Jordan Ochoa, who I think people maybe had been forgotten a little bit.
Yeah, well,
Outside of
and
Coach Rule.
think about it this way though, but like another thing too, it might have been just both directions, right? Ochoa may be forgotten about because he's not a big name. Willis McGahe's a big name, but not only that, think about his 2 fumbles. One wasn't one in the Colorado game, and one was in the other one was in the bowl game, was it?
For Willis.
Yeah.
The one in the bowl game was Vincent
He,
Shavers.
he had a sack against Colorado at the end
Yeah.
of the game. So I think he was involved in a couple of big moments. He did contribute,
Yeah, he played good against Ohio State.
Yeah. But I think his name, and he had some his plays were in big moments too. And so I think like there's that factor into it. But listening to the out of camp to the talk, they have been talking about Ochoa. So
it's similar to the TJ Lateef, Jalen Gramstead situation where Coach Rule is like, it's nothing Jalen didn't do. It's what TJ did. This has got to be the exact same situation, I imagine, because we saw Willis last year.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is no terrible knock on Willis, but let's see here. I say yay, Mike 4810. They can also bat down passes. I would play a 4-4 looking random with blitz 2 of the second 4. Slay Kings. That's what I'm talking about. Is your wifey. I'm sad no one's calling in the shows. Hey, I appreciate you. Shout out to the show. No, Rashawn, my bad, fellas. Had to check out some local high school scores.
Oh, good.
I need to check in on those too. Kai earned his time. Can't wait. Yeah, it's going to be fun. Can't wait for Water. He missed out on him last year, but this year he starts. He's been all bought in for Big Red. She lived with 5 stars. The fact that Matt Rule says he's not the same player he was when he got here. He's not the same player he was when he started this spring.
Yeah.
Kind of scary.
Well, there was validity to the rumors, for lack of a better term, with Williams Winery and
with the staff over there,
with the staff at Mizzou, with even adapting to his early time at Nebraska. I think there's some validity into some of those rumors, and some guys, it just takes an extra month or 2 to kind of get with it, for lack of a better term,
or just being at a place where you feel welcome too. I feel like Missouri, he didn't really. There was something off there, with the coaching they mentioned.
Well, I think part of it too is the NIL landscape in the state of Missouri. Nebraska's got the same law, but we're not pumping out a bunch of big time prospects like they are in Missouri, where, at the time he committed to Missouri, he could immediately start earning NIL. And I think that goes across the board now, even if you're out of state, but at that time it wasn't. And so part of it's a financial decision. Like, I'm getting $200-300K right now before I even enroll. And then once I get there, I'm making $400 or $500. And I think there's definitely some playing time or lack thereof that was a problem, because it was not what the recruiting pitch was. And it immediately creates a distrust in your staff when
he was even going to play this year, probably though, a lot. And he still wanted out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cause I think with that staff, he was just kind of checked out with them.
Yeah.
And I think that's another part of too. Jamar Mosey being here, helped him too. That's a huge thing right there. Especially to getting his head right and making sure that, like, because, he goes to a place like Missouri, where it's like, oh, this is what I thought it was going to be and all this other stuff. Now he comes over, he has a familiar face, right? Back to high school that he can like look in and trust and like trust that he's in the best place for his growth. And I think that was able to kind of lock in his mindset too, and I think all that allowed him to just be able to channel into his future, not worrying about like, okay, I don't have a future here where I might have a future. I think he knows that now. And I think that's why he's been able to lock into it for sure.
I remember when he first committed out of the portal, and I wasn't worried about what was being said about his time at Missouri because of what you mentioned, where his high school coach is on staff. But not only that, Isaiah Mosey, his former high school teammate, Jameer Khan, a former high school teammate, Dason McCullough, who played, I believe, as a senior when he was a freshman. I may be wrong, but even then, it's still a guy from the Kansas City area that played at the same school, played for Coach Mosey. There's just a lot of familiarity in that. And I think it was actually McCullough who said it, like, there's so much Kansas City flavor in the roster or on the roster, and that helps tremendously.
Yep, absolutely. What does the depth chart really mean? Nothing other than something on paper. I mean, honestly, you're right.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Wasn't
you're
Dante
right.
the 4th-string running back at the beginning of the year last year?
I don't remember. I think so.
And then he started.
Yeah, honestly, it's something to talk about a week till the season, but it gives us kind of a general idea where guys sit, but comparing it to the end of the season, it's going to be a whole different.
Yeah,
it looks like a math test. Good call. Sounded good, Dave. Husker Wrestling. What's going on, Joseph? Appreciate you hopping in here. 2016 currently. Coach Mosey has really helped him settle in, being a 100% agreed.
Yeah.
I did that video on Mosey, man, on Jamar, and I learned so much about him, especially like one of my commenters said something, forget what it was, but just found out a lot of just how good he is as a person and a coach. This Babcock gal is something. That's right. 24-20 pit match point.
They just won set 3.
Is it over finally?
Pitt won set 3. Babcock went crazy.
No, I mean, that set over. Okay.
Yeah, she was the player of the year in volleyball last year. She's freaking phenomenal.
Yeah. Pitt takes the 3rd. The or thing means next man up. I bet we see all their names play. Oh yeah, we're gonna see heavy rotations. Heavy rotation for sure. All right. That's going to drop this link in here one more time. See if anybody wants to call in. If not, we are going to go ahead and wrap up the show. We understand we did it during I was talking a little bit more today because I do understand we did it during the volleyball game. So I was trying to give you all a little grace there and keep the show rocking and rolling. But Brian, any bold predictions for next week? Let's have some fun.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going to say, let me pull up this wide receiver depth chart because that's where it's going to fall. All right. I'm going to say Cortez Mills has 60+ yards receiving and a touchdown as a third.
60+ yards receiving and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So
as the backup to Dane Key. I think Cortez is going to be just like Jacory last year, but better.
For Cortez. Okay. Let's do one offensive, one defensive.
Okay. Defense. I'm going to say Malcolm Hartzog with a pick 6. That may not be that too crazy because he's led the team in INTs for like 3 years.
I think if you predict the pick 6, it's kind of crazy. Not gonna lie, that doesn't happen a lot.
So we're gonna say Malcolm Hartzog pick 6 in the 3rd quarter with 13:23 remaining, and it's gonna be a 32-yarder.
32-yarder with 13:23 remaining. I don't know why you like the numbers 2 and 3 there, but all right. Now, see, I just came up with this on the fly. Now I got to come up with mine. All right, so I'm going to say Mekhi Nelson. They got to go with Mekhi, right? Mekhi Nelson takes a swing pass in from 15 yards. Let's say that. But let's just say, yeah. We'll do swing pass from 15 yards, and then on defense, I'm going to say, let's go with my man, Dason McCullough is going to force a turnover. That's going to be hard one to get because he is a
Kyle Kunanen drills a 46-yard field goal. That might be crazy.
All right, so I got these written down. All right, let's see what we got. We'll see what we got in the chat. Mekhi busts one for 20+ and gets his first collegiate TD. So you got it on the ground. 20+. See, now you can't. You got to pick one or the other. I picked receiving. You got to go with your rushing now. All right, Pets and beggars can't be choosers. Bone Lead's calling in. What's going on, Bone Lead? You got a bold prediction for us?
Sure. On defense, well, actually, no. I'm not going to choose defense or offense. I'm going to choose one that's going to surprise you. How
Okay.
about something we haven't had in a while? Bonner with either a punt and or kickoff return or huge return.
I like that.
Bonner?
Yes.
I don't think he's going to be returning punts and kicks.
It's bold,
Well,
Ryan.
That is
yeah,
very
it's
bold. Ryan.
It's bold.
it's bold. I mean, but no, seriously, I do think that we're going to have like, a punt or
I just put down a big time punt or kick return.
yeah.
That's a good prediction. I like that.
I do too.
We
Say
haven't
20
had one in a
yards.
while. I mean,
Oh,
when's the
yeah.
last time we had one? Under Pearson L?
DeMornay would be the last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, I
Wow.
love DPE. Kid was
Yep.
so good.
What you got, Bone Lead?
Well, the more and more, I see the depth chart, I'm glad that there's oars there because that then helps with also maybe injuries, and it gives everybody more experience and more playing time to where, they'll be able then to, gain the experience.
Bone Lead. No. He didn't have to go out like this. In the arms.
I'm going to say Janiron Bonner, 3-yard rushing touchdown as a fullback.
Hold on. Jesus, I'm getting a lot of predictions. Janiron Bonner, 3-yard as a fullback. All right, and then we got Mike. Rilo runs for a TD. It's not that bold.
They've been sneakily talking about him running the ball more.
I know. Dylan's gonna truck some fool. I like that. What's up, Bone Lead? Welcome back.
Yeah.
We heard you injuries experience.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad that our names are there because, it's good to get everybody, experience, especially early in the year, so that, when certain games come along, if there are injuries, they'll be able to, be the next man up who sits there and is able to come out and play.
Yep. And I think it leads to the fact that they think a lot of the talent level at the ones is right there with the level of the twos, and so I think it shows our depth that we have as well. Yeah, so a lot of good things come from it. We got a lot of quality depth on this team that I feel like we haven't had in a while.
Yeah, well, that's good, because I mean, to me, that is a huge thing, because if you get injuries, then you got to substitute somebody in. Like if your left tackle gets hurt, then that left tackle, then somebody, if you don't have enough left tackles, then somebody's got to, maybe a right tackle then has to learn how to play left tackle, and vice versa. This way, they're going to play them all, and I hope that it helps them avoid injuries. And what it also does is it keeps them fresh to hopefully it will wear the other team out, that by the time the fourth quarter comes, that, we'll be able to, destroy them in the fourth quarter.
That's the goal.
You bring up a good point there about the fourth quarter, and Coach Rule for so long has talked about their goal of the fourth quarter being like 75 yards rushing, and just like physically wearing them down in that fourth quarter. We haven't seen that, not once. I'd like to see that Thursday night.
One thing too that I forgot to point out about the depth chart, David Huffkin's listed as the nose. I'm sure you saw that, but I didn't point that out, and I meant to. 6'7", 285 is listed as the nose.
I said on Twitter, like the defensive line and the interior defensive line needs to bulk up a little bit, and someone was like, imagine saying RVP is small, and I'm like, well, no, but David Huffkin at 275 for a nose tackle is kind of small.
285, yeah. what
Our 3 defensive tackles listed are all under 280. Like they're not huge by football standards.
small is relative. You're talking about relative to the position. That's where people
Yeah.
get twisted up. Is Bonelet still with us, or is he taking a nap?
Hello.
Okay, I was just making sure because your screen was frozen, so I was making sure you were actually still there.
Oh, yeah, I am.
Okay, okay, cool.
So, like I was saying earlier, I mean, you were talking about like their quarterback being a mobile quarterback and stuff like that.
Sornsby,
Like
yeah.
I said, I would show a 4-4 look. Doesn't mean you're playing a 4-4. You show a 4-4 look, and then you could randomly blitz at different times. But also during that 4-4, you could somebody could technically then be a spy. Okay, to where they could, if they see him run, they could come up then and make the tackle. But herein lies the dilemma. Let's say he acts like he's going to run, but then stops at the last second and throws it. Then you've got somebody out of position. If we have to bring a safety up, that then leaves them wide open. So what do you do then in that case? I mean, you don't know. I mean, but I just think a 4-4 up front, would deter them from trying to attempt to run. But if our secondary is as good as they claim it is, why not?
Yeah, I mean, stacking 8 in the box in theory would be great as long as they can't throw us out of it ever. So that would be that would be the hopes. If we could stack an 8-man box every time, we'd love to and still defend the pass.
Yeah, they're going to try and run it down our throats. I don't question that. They're going to, be I think I said on Tuesday, 55-60% run to pass ratio. So they're going to have to load the box up. I just don't know if Nebraska wants to put 4 linebackers on the field because, like you said, Bone, if they decide to throw out of that, now you're completely in the wrong formation. You have the wrong guys on the field, and that's where Deshaun Singleton's going to be huge as the rover because he can play in the box, he can play in coverage as well. So you could be in a 4-3 formation or whatever you want to call it with Deshaun as the rover still.
Yeah, you're significantly slower with an extra linebacker as opposed to the extra defensive back. But yeah, they're going to be about 55-45 pass run. Probably. So it's not a team that has a lot of they don't really throw a big time turnover percentage. He doesn't really throw well under pressure. So I think one of the biggest things is getting Sornsby under pressure. And I think that's going to cause him to make a lot of mistakes. But yeah, I mean they run about the same amount of plays per game as we do. So yeah, I think it'll be interesting to watch that chess match between Butler and how they're trying to run that offense with Sornsby.
Yep, and I think I saw a stat the other day about Sorsby under pressure and like they call it like big time throws or whatever, and he was ranked as they did it like out of 85, I think, or like 100 quarterbacks and
where was this at?
College football. Oh, one of those like analytic sites.
Because I got the numbers, my numbers off PFF that I have for him because I have them written down here for Sornsby. He has a 1.94% big time throw rate and a 2.81% turnover throw worthy rate and a 47.7% passer rating under pressure. But at 105.
Yeah. So it wasn't PFF, I know that, but PFF in this case, like those got to be some of the worst in the country.
Not good.
Yeah,
definitely not good.
That's your recipe right there as a defensive coordinator, Mr. John Butler, who you can take advice from me, John, if you'd like to. Wouldn't recommend it.
Nebraska's big time throw percentage last year was 3.31. Cincinnati's was 1.94. Passer rating under pressure, Nebraska was a 74.2. Cincinnati's was 47.7. So
there's your recipe. Stop the run and apply pressure.
Yeah.
Make him beat you with his arm.
That's the goal. Contain.
And he won't.
Yep. Exactly. So, but did he dip out?
He did.
Damn it. All right, let me so through here. I was looking at I also have my long-term predictions going. Truck some fool question: does the Chiefs defensive players being there on the sidelines fire up our defense? Oh, it has to.
Yeah. Can you
Without
imagine
a
like
doubt.
you're Elijah Judy or Riley Van Poppel and you walk over and you got Chris Jones over there like pumping you up? God, that'd be freaking insane.
Just think about anything that you enjoy to do and like your favorite person. You idolize doing that. You know, they're there. Do you feel
Yeah.
that like extra energy to perform? Hell yeah, you do.
Yeah. And you know Travis Kelce's not going to be on the Husker sideline, but I think Mahomes, well, they'll probably be in the skybox, honestly. But there I think there definitely will be some Chief players down on the sideline.
Bonelet's phone's acting up. 10-9 Huskers. My opinion, every bit of veteran experience and mojo helps. What Ives' current status still nursing the hamstring? Yes, probably. I would imagine so. That hamstring is probably going to be nursing it for a couple more weeks.
Yeah, that's why he's fourth on the depth chart. I mean, he's just not 100% full go.
Otherwise, I definitely think he'd be above Mosey.
Yeah, I think I would agree with that too. Because I think last week they were working even Janiron Bonner at running back because he's so versatile. But they need that
so
physical.
good. Yeah, that physicality. Yeah.
But maybe, we see Vince Genatone. Maybe that's your like incredibly bold prediction is like a random Vince Genatone touchdown.
Didn't he say no, Genatone wasn't hurt. Never mind. I'm dumb. I got him confused with Mangini. I'm gonna retard. I'm dumb sometimes.
Yeah, the injuries you listed, there's only one that was like worth noting.
That's
that was Vince
Childress. Then it clicked, and I'm thinking Mangini, not Genatone. It's the gene that screwed me. So all right. Well, we are at about an hour here. So again, we ran this during Husker volleyball. We understand that, but I appreciate everybody who tuned in and nonetheless to enjoy the volleyball game with us. That's still going on though. So next week we got Husker football, guys. So this coming Thursday, we will be having our post game immediately following the game. Tuesday, we're going to have our live show per usual. And we're going to be having some stuff this coming week. I'm going to talk to Brian here in a little bit, see what we want to do in terms of Wednesday before the game. If we pop on and do something Wednesday prior to the game or something like that.
I'll be driving.
Oh, okay. Brian will be driving, so I'll keep you updated if I decide to do some Wednesday before the game if I'm itching to talk some football. So
yeah, we're going to be moving to Texas at probably 3 a.m. Thursday morning.
Nice, great time. Did you have to flip off your wife?
No.
Okay. I saw you glance that way and smile. I thought she was talking trash again.
No, she just looked hot.
Oh, God. All right. Well, anyways, that would do it for us here on the show. Now, I appreciate everybody tuning in. Thank y'all. And again, Thursday, be ready. We will have the Tuesday live show for y'all. So y'all stay tuned so we can get y'all prepped up for everything. I'm trying to see if I can get a Cincinnati guy on if anybody talks Cincinnati football. I don't even know if anybody likes that team. So, but I'm going to try to bring somebody on for y'all to talk about the Bearcat side of things so we can, bully them a little bit for Thursday. So that being said, that is Brian. I am Justin. And together we are the voice of college football. I don't know why I did that. I just felt like doing something,
all intense.
I just felt like doing something. All right. But again, that'll do us for here. We will see y'all in the next video. Peace.